was this polymarket one. And I think this one's important to show you because it uses a new thing for me, at least, which is web search with ChatGPT. So polymarket, just to start at the start here, is a place you can trade on any different topic. For example, Fed decision in December, sports, Elon Musk number of tweets, etc. Okay, so there's this thesis, maybe even more than a thesis, maybe a stat that most markets end up being no. So it's everything no thesis or whatever. So 80% of markets end up in no. So I built a bot, and I've shown you that already, the no bot, where it's like, okay, it's going to look at high volume markets where there's whales trading and then bid 30% under or 40% under, whatever it may be, on the no. There's a big problem with that is the AIs that were going ahead and giving the recommendation. I was using 6 of them in a swarm. It would just get the titles. So they would get the titles of the market. So, it's been doing fine. But without web search, it's hard for me to talk in definites here because it's so new. Again, this is a hypothesis. Maybe the web search that I added to this is going to make it do worse. Long story short, we enabled web search before we send it to the AI swarm. So you can see it's actually running right here. So DeepSeek, OpenRouter. Also, Opus 4.5 is in here now, and OpenRouter is in there. So it asked the 7 AIs, I believe now. Yeah, 1 out of 7. If it should take the no trade or not. Same thing. I showed you this a couple weeks ago. The swarm just rejected this one. But the big change is before we send the prompt to the swarm, we use OpenAI web search AI in order to search the web, and we add that web search to the prompt. So now it's not just a title, and AI is kind of picking based off that. Now it's a title and a web search. The question is, does it do better or worse? I don't know. The thing I do know is this is pretty cool functionality. First off, AI web search, that's pretty neat. And there are a bajillion ways to use this. So as always, I just try to bring the most impactful thing to you. Let me go ahead and show you the code. Okay, first off, it's dependent on the swarm agent. You should have access to this as it's public. Moondev AI agents, Moondev, Google. Simply go, you can see the path here. Go to the SRC, then the agent, and then the swarm agent. And you can see this swarm agent essentially goes ahead and calls all these different AIs, DeepSeek, XAI, OpenRouter, Qwen, Claude. This is 4.5. Sonnet, and then Opus 4.5. So you can see you can turn these on and off. I'm sure you can work with AI to understand this file entirely. Let me go ahead and show you the other code. So the code for the actual bot, it just uses this. It's dependent on this. Like this is the swarm that it calls. So you'll need that code. Okay, so now I'm going to share this code with you. And, as always, if you're a quant elite, you'll have this code dropped. Or if you're in the polymarket course, you'll have this code dropped on your head here soon. But in the meantime, if you aren't, don't worry about it. I'll go slow, take screenshots, whatever you need to do. And as I always say, this is actually, it's a good practice because it makes you gotta look at things a little slower than just copy pasting. So first off, we have these imports here, and then we add the AI swarm repo to the path. So this is obviously going to be much different than for you. You'll have to change your path up. And then we import Moondev swarm agent. So I have it in a different directory. So it's a little import from a different directory. And then this is the configuration here. So for position sizing, I'm still using 2%, 2% of the full account size, just because I'm testing this. Bid discount, 20%. I don't know what's right. 30% is probably going to be better, I'd assume. 40% would probably be even better than that, but I don't know. That's the great thing about this is you're kind of right where I am. You can see some other variables here. I still ignore sports and crypto, but I'm sure there's some use cases there for those. Okay, and this is the web search model here. I'm passing GPT-4o mini search preview. And I know there's a couple other ways to do search. I think Mistral, I think it's the name. Mistral. They have a search. It's a little more expensive, but I heard it might even be better. I think this is plenty good for V1 though. So I stuck with that. I already kind of walked through that decision. I was like, yeah, I'm going to stick with OpenAI. So you can see it logs the web search as well. So you can probably do some nice things with that. And then here is the actual prompt. And this is important because everybody's prompt is going to be different. And this is where everybody can kind of get their own edge and build out their own formula. So there's a prompt with web search here and then prompt with no web search here. I haven't dove into the prompt tweaking yet, but that's just like a whole alley that you can roll through. And then here, you may have seen this function before. It's from our nice funks file. I put it all in this file because then I could just show you this file here today and you can understand it. But get USDC balance here. It is it's actually a Web3 thing where we have to query the blockchain. It's unique because essentially polymarket is built on Polygon. And in order to get our USDC balance, we're just calling the blockchain for this. So it's cool. I mean, if you've been with me for a while, you know we've done a lot of Solana stuff. So it's very similar, just different chain calling to get our balance. This ABI thing. I remember when learning about Solidity, I took a couple Solidity courses and this was big, used a lot, but this is all Solidity because it's an EVM. So connect to the Polygon network here. Pretty standard here. Getting the balance that we have. Need the balance for any bot that you build. So these functions here that I'm showing you are going to be great because they will help you build any idea that you may have. All our ideas are going to be different, but that was how you got the USDC balance, and you'll always need the USDC balance because that's the balance of your wallet. Okay, here's place limit order. So when you want to put an order in, this is how you place the limit order. You can see we are getting the private key, the public key. Keep those safe in your .env. We handle two different Web3 versions that we set up the client here. This is the polymarket client, the CLOB. Then we set up our API credentials here and we create the arguments for the order. So passing in the token ID, the price, the size, the side. You should be very comfortable with this by now. I always say all markets are similar, you know? You can trade any market, there's going to be a buy, sell price. Tries a couple different orders. Polymarket's still a little new, I'd say, and not super smooth to build for yet, but you know, with AI, we can make anything happen. So here's the rest of that place limit order. So now you can get your USDC balance and place a limit order. Those are two huge things that you now have forever for the rest of your life. Whenever you have an idea on Polymarket, you can execute now. So that's sick. Okay, then we load our environment variables here. Careful with those. Put them in your .env. Then we track our traded markets here. And then we're going to process some sweeps. Sweeps are just big orders from traders. I'm just watching them. It's a way to populate the markets. You know, there's no way to just like pull market. I mean, maybe there is, but this is a good way for me to populate markets because I know there's volume there. I see big traders, and then I can say based off of that, okay, you know, version 1 of this was no AI. Version 2, I don't know if I showed you version 2. Version 2 was just AI swarm. Yeah, snap. I may not have even shown you this yet. I'm sorry. Version 2 is an AI swarm. And then this is version 3 that is pretty much an AI swarm with web search. Yeah. So I kind of like the swarm version I like AI on this use case because there's too many markets for me to bid no on. I can't, I don't have unlimited money in order to buy all the markets and buy the no on every market, you know? So I implemented this maybe a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure about the AI swarm in general, but the adding the web search is really new. So you can see this loads the traded markets here, and then we save the traded markets. And then we check if it's sports or crypto, because if it's sports or crypto, I'm ignoring them. A lot of people wonder why I ignore sports and crypto, and it might not be a true thing. It might not be true. Like my thesis, but my thesis and the reason I personally avoid them is because you're gonna bet on your team. You're a sports guy, you're gonna bet on your team. So me watching big traders just because they're betting on their team, like what's their edge? I don't know. And I also don't know if that's correct or not. That's a correct thesis. I'm sure there's some sort of strategy you can build for sports, but I don't know. I stay away from it for now. I think it's too easy to like sports betting also is just like too gambly. It's too easy to start sports betting. And I don't know. For the same reason I try not to hand trade. It's like I don't want to check into the casino and start trading. I don't want to check into the casino and have an excuse to watch basketball every single night. Are you kidding me? I love basketball. I could watch it every single night, especially if I got some cash on it. So I'm gonna stay far away from it. Um, and the signal there, I just don't think it's there because people are gonna bet on their team. And then the crypto stuff, I ignore that as well, just because plenty of exposure to crypto with other algos. Today, I did launch a test of like a stink bid algorithm. I'll update you if it's fire. So is near resolution. So we check if it's near the resolution because if it is, then we won't trade it. Get account balance here. You saw that full function above. We log the trade to the CSV here. And then we go down here and we see the web search functionality finally. So search market context here. It searches the web, uses GPT-4o mini, search preview. We got some fancy prints here. You're connecting to the ChatGPT completions, OpenAI API. You pass in your OpenAI key. This is a user message here. You can probably change that, edit it however you see fit. Some more prints. And then we make the API request down here, request.post. We parse the response. We get the choices back. And then we show the web search results as well because I like to see prints of everything so I can really understand what's going on. We log it to a CSV. And then down here, we are logging the web search. So we log the web search so we can have it, so we can look back at it and see if we can tweak it, change it in any way. And then down here, this is where we make the call query swarm for trade decision. So now after we've collected the web search data with GPT-4o, whatever, we send that into the swarm AI. And remember, the swarm is over here, swarmagent.py. Just go to Moondive AI agents on GitHub, SRC agents, swarmagent.py. Star that and fork it so you just have all the code, you know? Search the market context, calculate the percentages, calculate our bid. Remember, the goal here is to buy the no at a massive discount. And we're just asking AI's permission if like, so there's already a strategy. You see what I'm saying? I don't believe in like, hey, AI, tell me what to buy. Hey, AI, tell me when to sell. I just don't believe in that because that's too easy. So there's a strategy built into this, right? It's strategy is all markets end in no, or most markets end in no. If I can buy one of those no's for a discount, I'll take it. All right, so this builds the prompt, uses the web search. Okay, here we go. And then we print all the things we need to see, all the prompts, so you can always debug it. Query the swarm, get the consensus here, print full individual responses here. And then we loop through the responses here. Count the yeses and nos, because remember, we're asking unlimited AIs. I'm asking 7. Show vote tally. So if the majority says yes, take that no trade, then we'll take it. And then here's the next part of that. So we use we tally the vote up here. And then we have to place a market order as well, or place limit order for no market. So this is that function here, place no market order. That's very bad, poorly worded. So calculate our bid, because we're bidding, so it is a limit order. Print out a bunch of stuff, get account balance, make sure that we have enough, and then we calculate the position size. So remember, at the top of this code, I have my position size at 2%. Calculate the shares of what that will be, and then we print out the order details so I can see them. Check minimum order size, place the order here. And then this is the order result that we get back. And parse through it. If order result, print this successful order, and then we log the trade to the CSV here, including the swarm and web search. Some exceptions, and then we go ahead and process the no sweep. Process a no market sweep query swarm with web search and place order if approved. So extract all of the details. Only trade binary yes or no markets. So we're skipping every other market, the yes or no, because they're funky markets sometimes. Check if it's near resolution, filter out sports. Check if we traded it already, print out all the details here. And then we query the AI swarm here with the web search before placing the order. This is just calling all of our functions now. And then down here at the bottom, we place the order. So we check if it's a success or not. If it is, boom. And then here we have the sweep queue worker thread. So we have multiple threads going here. So in the background, it's grabbing the new sweeps. I keep calling them sweeps, big orders, whatever you want to call them, but I call them sweeps. Okay, and then WebSocket handlers here, so on message. So this is, again, using WebSockets for the orders, and it's parallel processing, so it's grabbing all the orders on the back end, or behind it, however you want. Parallel, actually, I guess. It's in the word. It's in the name. Parallel processing. So on message here, that's the full function, and then WebSocket handling here on air, on close, on open. It's a little tricky because it's doing a lot, but all the code is here. Connect to the WebSocket here. Ping the thread here. And then coming up here is the main function. So connect to WebSocket here to get all that data that we will be watching, all trades. I'm sure there's a more efficient way to do this now that I have multiple bots. Yeah, I should definitely build this to have multiple, or one WebSocket that's collecting all the trades and be picking from there at this point. That makes sense to me, but there's unlimited efficiency rabbit holes that you can go down, unlimited. So that's the fun part about coding and building in general. So load traded markets, and that's it. That's a wrap. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know.